Big warnings. This podcast episode assumes you have beaten Nier Automata. Well, if you're being completely honest here, most of this episode became a sort of philosophical discussion. And maybe you are listening to this to see if the game will interest you. Or maybe some third reason. Anyway, don't say I didn't warn you. The episode starts now. You've read it to me. Mm-hmm. He had it on his phone one day, and I was playing something, and then he just starts reading it
from the game, the script from the game.
Not the script, the screenplay.
The Yorha stage play.
The stage play that only showed up once, and it was done by this weird idol group.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you'd mentioned something about that. So, not a great time.
No.
Not a great time.
Also, and you know what sucks? If you really want backstory on certain characters, that thing explains a lot. Mm-hmm. But it sucks.
It's not what you wanted.
It's not.
It's what you asked for, but not what you wanted.
Yeah. So it's weird because there is a document you get in that game in regards to A2 and an enemy and talking about their background. It's basically that. Yeah. But better.
Okay.
Because there's no stage play going on.
Right.
That's weird.
Did you play the original Nier game?
I played some of it once because a mutual friend, Goncha, has it.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't get it because I thought the controls sucked. Uh-huh. It wasn't until I watched that playthrough that I sent you. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this game is actually amazing.
Right.
It's just bogged down by rough gameplay.
Okay. Like Dragon Guard.
Like Dragon Guard.
Well, what was strange is, I was looking into the original Nier, and Nier's whole narrative shtick is that it's like, oh, it's a Dungeons and Dragons kind of world, but oh no, it's the apocalypse, haha! Yeah.
And actually the characters are these fully fleshed out, more human than just playing to their race.
Right.
And stuff. That always bugged me with D&D.
The main characters are bad guys in Nier. They're the bad guys.
Yeah.
One of them's a pedophile and a cannibal.
That's Dragon Guard.
Yeah.
Fucking monsters.
Yeah.
So Nier started because of what's the main character? Keim? Is that the guy from Dragon Guard?
Keim.
His fuck up. And then Nier Automata takes place after Nier, their fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm always fascinated. Well, that's the cool thing about Taro is that all endings are valid.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he likes to choose the either weirdest one or the one where you fucked up the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great.
This game has a lot of endings.
Yeah.
It ends so much. So many times. You think it's done.
Yeah.
And it just keeps fucking happening. And
I want the sequel to Nier Automata to take place after the ending where you eat the fish. And it kills you.
That's one of my favorites.
What I want.
I want the one where you just self-destruct.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
Well, because then in theory there will be nothing left.
Yeah.
Because no one's there to stop the virus, the viruses and all that.
See what happens then.
Yeah.
Fucking build a narrative out of that.
Yeah. Well, you just do the thing that you do another time skip and then
Yeah, I got it.
You gotta read the CD novels, the CD novellas.
I did not know.
You gotta
get that shit, dude.
You also gotta.
Trigun has that shit.
Yeah.
I think Cowboy Bebop has one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. FLCL had one that was kind of strange, but
I never looked into it. Should I?
No.
Okay. Because I have the manga too, and I haven't read the manga.
It's nothing like that. Yeah, every single time that there has been, at least thus far, until Adult Swim does the thing it's doing. Yeah. I think every continuative, I'm doing air quotes, every continuative thing on FLCL has been like, oh, but what if this happened?
Yeah, it's all non-canon, weird,
like fan fiction.
I think one of them was like, now to just in high school has a bunch of girlfriends. Like, he's a serial monogamist. And he keeps dating women who look like Haruko. Ugh. And then keeps dumping them because they're not. They're not.
Yeah. How do you be a serial monogamist?
You date someone and then you break up with them.
So,
and then
you're not cheating.
No.
You're just constantly...
You're constantly in relationships. Yeah. That's a phrase. Like, I didn't make that up.
No, because I don't know why I was confused for a second. Because I was like, wait, if you're cheating, how are you monogamous? No. And then it's obviously, well, he's not cheating.
He's not cheating. He's just like...
he's just a broken man.
He can never be by himself. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh. Wow, yeah. I mean, it does make sense.
Oh, yeah.
In that sense, because the one time... There's only 2 times you see him by himself, and that's before Haruko.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just depressed, or like...
He's a real bummer. He's a real sad kid.
He's a real sad kid hanging out with a high school girl.
Yeah, there's nothing healthy about any part of his life.
No. And then after... No, and then like at the end of the 5th episode... into the 6th.
Yeah.
You get him.
He's been alone for like a few months now.
Yeah, and he's broken. Like
just sad and staring at cats angrily.
Yeah, because he hasn't learned how to live on his own.
Yeah.
Or to be with himself.
And so that means, at least in that version, it's not official, he never learned a lesson and he's just sad
he just never learned. He thought he learned.
He thought he did. we all thought he did, and no.
No.
So, I mean, that's fun and all, and we can talk about Nier and all that stuff.
Okay.
Since that's what the episode's about, but I don't want to.
Okay.
I want to talk about Sally Bones.
I don't want to. I don't want to. So, like, for anybody listening, I want this to be clear.
Guy, he's such a dick.
Me and the Vasquez, we've been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They have had my phone number for a very long time.
I've never done anything with it.
They've never really done anything with it. And then the last week I've been at work with children. And I'd get texts.
Children love Sonic.
No! I would be at work with children and I'd get a text that's just like, oh, can you look at this? And I'm what is this?
No. I type grenade incoming.
Yeah.
Because that's a fair warning.
That's a fair warning. And then, the first or second time I was like, what is this? I never get texts like this in the middle of the day. What can this be? And then it's this horrifying sex nightmare posed up with its ass in the air. And my face clearly changed because like one of the I was there and there's like 2 12-year-olds on either side of me. Uh-huh. Oh, Mr. Adams, what's wrong? Nothing. Everything's fine.
God is in his chair and the world is fine.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And they're all just different pictures of Sally Bones that I could find.
They're very upsetting, and none of them. I want to be clear. None of them actually have her insides showing. They're all just the mannequin outside, the stuffing. But I know.
You know what's
I know what's in there.
It would be weird, but the fact that you know what's inside, like, brings it into a new...
Oh,
you find a new depth of humanity.
It's a whole other kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
It's if anything, maybe even more upsetting than if it was just the insides posed that way. Mm-hmm. Because now there's this whole other layer of, people can look at this and not know what I know.
Yeah.
They can. Oh no! This is like this is like going into a grocery store and being like, 5 of them have razor blades in them. No, I don't know which one, but don't do this.
You have to pick 2.
Oh, fuck.
If it makes you feel better. Yeah. I've been doing this to Mr. Frozen Stratos of Go Mingo Podcast, where I've just been sending him pictures of Sally Bones.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
After I showed it to him once after class.
Sure. Of course you did.
So who's next?
Another
guess?
I've shown it to one of my other friends.
Uh-huh.
I've only shown her 2 pictures.
Uh-huh.
And the message she wrote back was, I feel like if I keep staring at it, something's going to happen.
Yeah. It does feel like something.
Like, it's one of those dumb high school, like photos or gifs you send to someone?
Yeah.
And they don't know it's a GIF or it's actual video.
Yeah.
And it just jump scares you.
Yes. Do you remember what it actually does make me think of? And I'm saying this at great risk that nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Okay,
but
that's fine.
A thing when I was in high school was there was like a somewhere between a meme and a chain letter.
Okay.
Where people would send around this picture of like a pretty blonde girl kind of laid out looking like she was going to sleep.
Okay.
Which on its own is kind of creepy.
Yeah,
Don't take
weird.
pictures of people while they're asleep. Yeah. And then underneath it was just like, this girl has just been strangled. And I don't know why that's so profound. Have you? Was that a thing?
Nothing, dude.
I used to get chainmail, but nothing like that.
Oh yeah, that was like a thing at the school I went to before we met.
Before your life changed.
Before Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ.
Hey, but I just sent Archie comics in the middle of the night. What I did was fine. He's doing some weird shit.
Yeah,
Nick is obviously putting in way more work.
Oh, yeah, we've had really good conversations. Me and Nick have had really good conversations about the complexities of Sonic lore.
It's been one-sided.
It's a real deep wet. Yeah, I just keep asking you, basically I think of what's the dumbest thing, and then I say, but did this happen? And then he's like, oh no, yeah, there's like the 4 issues that are all about that. Here, let me roll this out for you.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of infidelity in those comics. A lot of
Dude.
cheating. A lot of
that's some research I'm gonna have to rethink.
Because that's like 500 issues, 300 issues, in that area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The favorite part of that is when they canceled Sonic. I don't even know if they actually canceled and went through with it. Was that the creator and writer who had been doing this for so long was like, well, you don't get my characters in. I made those for the comic.
Oh yeah,
and they stay with me. Yeah. So like stuff like Sally.
The robot bunny.
Yeah, bunny Rabot.
Mecha Sally.
Mecha Sally.
Yeah, she got RoboCop pretty hard.
What about the king? Like Sonic was the king, and then Shadow was the king.
Yeah, that's right. Because there's a timeline where Sonic and Sally get married, and they have a castle and shit, and they have children.
Yeah.
And then like I send you the thing where Sonic has to go back in time and make sure he never sees his kids by never meeting Sally ever.
Right.
So his kids can't be born and they can't start a war. But now when he gets back to his present timeline, Shadow is king.
So anyway, I hate it. It's terrible. It's a real bummer. It's a real bad time.
What else did I say? Sally dies.
How's your nostalgia for Sonic holding up?
It's very weird.
Is it being tempered by the trials and tribulations?
I can compartmentalize it because I feel like the Sonic comics.
That's what I want.
Sorry.
Yes.
So the Sonic comics I put into the bracket of shitty Sonic things, which I already had because I always felt like the Sonic Saturday morning thing was like, oh, this is like a fandom.
Go fast,
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go
faster.
Get ready for Sonic.
And that show, that's a bad time. So that's where I put it. However, Sonic Adventure 2 and Classic Sonic are still safe. They're still in an untouched. It would take a lot for me to actually, you know what? Not even the whole game. At least just level 1 where you have to rollerblade down San Francisco and then run away from a truck.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one of my favorite modes.
Rolling around at the speed of sound, no place to go. But it would take a lot to ruin that for me. Unless it turns out like, oh, the truck was filled with orphans who had been stolen. Oh no, Sonic didn't help. He let that truck crash! Why?
You can always assume some of the animals he saves or doesn't save
are orphans.
Or orphaned.
Yeah. You know,
I mean, that's just rolling the dice right there. That's not...
Dr. Robotnik selects specifically animals from an orphanage.
Orphans. That way only Sonic will go find them.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Give those orphans a suit, like the birds.
Yeah, exactly. A little metal suit.
Yeah.
He can't risk like a parakeet going Liam Neeson trying to find their daughter, their parakeet child.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad we got that in.
Just that picture of Sonic. Nick showed me a bunch of the stuff. That kid from Sonic X holding a hedgehog.
This is a hedgehog.
And Sonic going, what the fuck is that? Like his brain is breaking.
It's a hedgehog.
Yeah.
And it's so upsetting because it looks like not only does it look like a real hedgehog, but if you don't know, hedgehogs are weird looking. They
Hedgehogs
look like
are weird looking.
Yeah, weird looking.
They got sharp little tiny teeth and weird little rat faces.
Yeah.
They're weird looking things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not cute and fun like Sonic.
No.
But
Sonic's not cute, man. He's cool.
Yeah. he's very
we need more edge. Knuckles, do it. Look at that. Oh, he is pretty edgy.
Oh man.
So, this is where I reveal to you
Yes.
that you were all part of a game show. No.
Oh.
No.
I knew
I've been saving a really big grenade.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
But that is one where we do have to sit down.
Well,
And
we
have
are
to
sitting down.
No, but we have to take some time out of your day.
Okay.
And we have to go through the Sonic Dreams collection.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know about it?
I've heard of.
Okay, don't look up anything else ever again.
Okay.
Because I want to be there.
Okay.
When you find out what the Dream Collection is.
Oh, that sounds profoundly upsetting. That sounds terrible.
Dude, that's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, I can do this one in two ways, right? I can actually download the game and we go through it for it would take 2 hours.
Okay.
Or I could just send you an LP, and they get it done within an hour.
We could do it as a side thing, I guess.
Ooh, I didn't even think about video. I was just I just want to be there.
Okay.
When you find out, we could maybe. Who knows? I can do anything with this fucking podcast. It's mine.
Yeah.
That's true. It's yours. I'm just here.
So speaking of my podcast,
Yeah.
I made Ian sit through a bunch of shit, a lot of homework.
Solidly more than 30 hours, maybe close to 40 hours.
Yeah, it was a lot, and I do actually appreciate you for going through that because I think that game is worth it.
Yeah.
To check out just all the background stuff one would need to know for Nier Automata.
Okay.
So do you want to say what you watched or?
Sure. So I watched a playthrough that you recommended to me. I don't remember the guy's name specifically. But
It's the best friends, and specifically Pat and Leon.
But it was a great playthrough. They were very engaging.
Yeah.
And I think they helped me digest this. And so I don't want Nick to get the wrong impression. I had a good time, but it is asking me to eat if you like pasta, eat this mound of fucking pasta now.
Eat this. I'm gonna bring a truck.
Yeah.
And you have to get that shit done.
Yeah.
Here comes the gravy pot.
So that was.
No, I know it was a lot.
Here's the better comparison. Is them listening to them two talk over it was like the glass of water that tiny Japanese men dunk their hot dogs in to get them down faster.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Is that a metaphor we're all on board with?
No, I
Sure,
agree.
if we're just talking about
Oh,
Kobayashi.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Does he still do it?
I think so. Yeah, I think
I
he's.
feel like he's been doing it my entire life.
But I don't think he does hot dogs anymore. I think he's on to other foods now.
I mean, at some point you just get old. Don't
yeah, you get tired of those sausages. You got to go on to pie and shit.
But then again, he obviously has some genetic thing going on. So
because he's skinny as a rail, man.
Yeah,
just a tiny
So
man.
I don't even know how that affects him physically or mentally.
Oh, he must have the most violent shitting.
I mean, yeah, right.
He throws it up.
Oh,
does he?
He throws it up?
Yeah, that's what a lot.
Oh, that
eaters
explains
do.
a lot because
they throw it up.
He wouldn't even have to process.
Yeah.
Yeah, but damn, dude, he would fuck up his throat when he
And
just of
his
all the
teeth.
acid. Yeah,
That's why a lot of the competitors don't last that long because they're not.
They have an eating
Oh,
disorder.
it's a tough-
Is now what you're
Yeah.
describing.
Pretty
though.
much,
Yeah.
it's profiting off eating disorders. Yeah,
Jesus Christ, that is dark.
Bulimia,
It's dark.
yeah.
well, no.
But he's
sport-
very good at what he does.
He's very
no,
good.
No sport doesn't have his dark side. So.
Every sport has.
It's like if I said I'm good at loot boxes, like I'm just gambling.
That's true.
That's all it is.
The only sport that doesn't have a dark side is croquet, except for all those teens who get beaten to death.
But most of them had it coming. That's where your analogy fails.
That's right.
So I watched it.
So you watched
I watched it, and then I watched because he did a playthrough. They did a playthrough on a lot of the endings. They kept going, and
Yeah.
the game is kind of cyclical in that way.
Mm-hmm. And all those endings are important.
Mm-hmm.
It's super important.
So I won't lie, I probably did not absorb all. There's 28 endings, 26, 28 endings.
For Automata.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of it, and
Every letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
every letter of the alphabet, so 26 English majors, and and
And the first two seem to me to be like the big ones.
well, the first 5 are the big ones.
Yeah. And then
and then the rest are just like text on black screens.
Yeah.
Because some of them are just stupid, like you eat a fish and then you die.
Yeah.
Um,
You blow yourself up in the face.
and then you game over. There's one where you literally just walk the opposite direction.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
facing, and then the game
You
ends.
took a stroll and
Yeah.
just abandoned the
and just
situation.
abandoned the entire mission and went on to do your own story.
Yeah.
And then the game ends.
Oh,
Yeah, I do remember
the secret ending, the last one with Emil.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's
So-
really sad.
It is really sad. Well, Emil's whole thing is kind of like a bummer.
He can't catch a break.
He's like, if this is a weird comparison, it just shows how much of a nerd. Well, we give a shit. He reminds me a lot of Bentley from Sly Cooper series, where he's the member of the party where everything bad happens to him,
Okay, yeah.
and it gets worse and worse, even though he's actually like probably the backbone.
Oh, yeah.
And like the savior.
Yeah.
Like Bentley in the first game becomes paralyzed, and you have to play as him in a wheelchair.
In Sly Cooper?
In Sly 2 and 3, yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a tricked out gadget wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, what happened was that it's in 2. 2 is when he loses his legs. Because remember the ending?
Oh,
of 2?
that's right. Sorry, yeah, 2 to 3.
Because in 2 they're trying to bring back Clockwork. That's the guys, the hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clockwork. Some villains trying to bring back Clockwork from 1 that you
Okay.
beat,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't work out, and then like the jaw of Clockwork clamps onto Bentley's legs, and he spent the game like trying to swing it off.
Oh, my God.
But that's how he gets in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
And then Penelope.
Penelope, who was his online girlfriend, turns out to be a villain. And then
He got catfished.
Yeah. Well, it's
What
weird
was it?
because she's a villain, and then she's not. She's actually trying to. But she's going about it in really like obtuse ways.
Right, okay.
She hustles. She's a good hustler.
She really is. And then when they save her and she joins the team, she falls in love with Sly instead
Oh.
because he's the cool one.
Of course.
But her and Bentley do get together at the end, and then you find out in Thieves in Time, which is the fourth one, that she left Bentley out of the blue because she can't just stop being a villain, and betrays the entire team. Yeah,
That is really upsetting, actually.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Bentley has never gotten a break.
I mean, I always thought like that full fight in 4-2, the mecha
Yeah.
fight, where like Bentley and her are beating each other up in the robots.
Yeah.
Is that abuse, or are they just working shit out?
I mean, it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation. That's just foreplay.
Yeah, both are on equal terms
Pretty much.
Yeah.
because they're in the robot. If it was just a robot versus Bentley in the wheelchair, I would argue.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that's dark. That's not okay.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But
Watch there be like someone points out to me, oh yeah, that was the original idea. But
Oh, no.
And then she like.
but then we took a step back and looked at this situation.
And then she's in her robot and she transformed into a flight of stairs.
I was gonna say, like, they should, like, the developers are like, oh, we just hate that character.
yeah.
We've been trying to write him out, but our contract.
But we
have
made
to
him
have,
more sympathetic.
Yeah.
We're gonna blow him up in the movie.
That's the problem is like in the next one it's just like, oh, it turns out I have an incurable disease, and then game 6 he's just not in it for like a really long time, like the first.
He'll probably be, I don't know. They'll bed rid him.
Oh yeah,
And he'll be hooked up to a machine, and one of your missions is to decide whether or not to pull the plug.
I mean, we say it as a joke, but you're welcome for the free idea.
Really? I just want writing credits, man. That out.
I mean, that free,
out's my portfolio there.
free royalty for every plug.
I can't wait. If that does become a thing, I get to go to a company. I was the guy who decided to pull the plug.
How brave!
It's like Cooper franchise.
Brave. What a brave choice.
And then they'll be like, just keep mopping up, janitor, and I'll be like, okay.
What, that Good Will Hunting? Like,
Yeah, man.
I saw it on a chalkboard.
who solved my theorem?
Who filled out this outline? This outline was unsolvable. Did you guys actually hear they're making a movie out of it?
Out of Good Will Hunting?
No. I was at.
You mean Sly Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
It's been well, here's the thing. It's been like they've said they were gonna do it like years and years ago.
Yeah. Really?
And then a trailer came out like a year or two ago, and just nothing.
Oh,
Since
okay.
then. Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Ratchet and Clank movie came out, and that was boring.
It was really boring, and also it had almost no marketing. It felt like.
Yeah, because it was boring.
Yeah, that's probably why.
The rhino showed up for like a second.
Oh, but no, because the Sly Cooper thing, I saw the trailer in a theater.
Really?
So I feel like that must be coming up.
I haven't gone to movies lately, so maybe.
I went to see the new Pixar movie and Disney's half hour of a thing.
I heard they took it out.
I know they finally did because people were mad about it.
So now I'll watch.
What happened? What?
In Coco, there was a half hour of just Frozen, like a Frozen short.
What?
A Frozen short that was 23 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just the snowman, and I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
Just about it, all of it, all the things.
Because that could have been some animator's beautiful like thing.
Instead of what ended up happening is apparently ABC pulled the plug on airing a Christmas special because I guess ABC got something better to do at Christmas. Yeah.
They're gonna show Elf for like the 50th time.
Oh, they're gonna show the Elf claymation, which.
Oh, I'm talking about the Will
asking for that?
Ferrell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is that.
Ugh. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was frustrating. But yeah, that trailer played in front of Coco.
Excuse me.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
that's probably if
so
not
now it's
done.
another sewer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks because Piper was one of my favorite shorts in years.
Remind me of Piper.
Piper's the one where it's the birds on the beach.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Dude,
It was beautiful.
it was like animation porn.
Pretty much.
Like,
beautiful.
holy shit. Yeah. There's that scene where there's a pile of wet sand and you could see each individual grain.
Yeah.
And then it moves exactly as wet sand would.
Yeah.
And it was such a small movement, but I saw that in the theater and I went, holy shit! Like really loud, like no one else. Like, because it was so amazing to me. Like
it is a beautiful, and they've mastered water physics. I think. At this point.
It looked real.
It looked real.
It looked like someone was just taking a documentary of very charismatic and camera ready birds.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
ahead.
How was Coco?
It's great.
Cool.
It's really good.
Cool. So Nier
Yeah.
Nier Automata.
is what this podcast is about right now.
Okay.
About to be.
No, it's part of my fault too. So you watched the intros or watched all the videos?
I watched all the videos. Yeah.
Did you watch the Clem stuff too, or
the what?
the Mr. Clem stuff? The guy who goes over the Drakengard.
Oh, I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't watch all of it. I watched some parts and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I told you that's like some of his very early stuff until probably like Nier.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't think he really finds his groove until Nier.
Okay.
Like I think his videos now are really good. Like are much better than what they were. Yeah. And he's talked about it a couple of times. He wants to go back and redo all the Drakengard videos and Nier videos, but those became like the most popular videos, and he hates them.
Oh, okay.
Or like he just cringes out
better.
like
He
when
can do better.
yeah, he cringes out when he sees them.
Yeah.
He's like, but I can't because so many people have seen them
Right.
and are still watching them. That if I take it out, it's gonna be jarring and
Right.
weird.
Yeah. Well, he goes over the visual. He goes over the novellas, the visual, the CDs, and then he goes over the little snippet you get when you buy Drakengard 3 Special Edition.
Yeah.
Do you remember BP from Nier?
Yes.
There's a if you get Drakengard 3 Special Edition for PS4, there's a little snippet, and in it is the background to BP, what happened after they escaped.
Oh, cute. Very cool.
And apparently it worked out. He
Yeah, it bummed me out. Because I like how that story ends for me.
well, he got killed.
Yes, well, it was so sad. It was like
just let them be dead.
BP.
I know it was tugging at heartstrings, but man, it worked for me. It's the shot of him banging his head against the roof and trying to and just crying out freedom, like or whatever he is to get to the other side after his friend dies.
Yeah.
But I love that fight. Like so Nier Automata. Well, that's your background with it, right?
Yeah, that's my background with it. So let me just say like how I got into this, because I'm the only person who hasn't actually played the game. I just kind of watched it, which may affect how I talk about it.
Which is fine. Well, that's going to be an interesting perspective. I think it's interesting perspective because a lot of people do that nowadays with like Let's Plays.
Oh yeah, it's hugely popular.
So I don't know if it's the argument for whether or not that perspective is valid is questionable. I mean, I think so because enough people do it, and you have to explore it at that point.
Yes, and I want to talk about how I think my experience was affected as not being a player but being a passive.
Yeah, which is weird because this game storytelling needs you to be the player.
We got to get into that. We will get into that. I want to get into it, but so I watched the playthroughs once, all the way through basically, and I then I think I told you like I don't understand. Like I just came away with nothing. Yeah. That meant nothing to me. It was noises.
Yeah.
And you were like, "What part don't you understand?" And I just don't. Okay. I don't know what's happening. So I had to go. I read, like just wiki entries on all the shit that he had done, and I read about like what Yorha is.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't absorbing this, and then after I read so much on it, I then rewatched. Not all of it, but big parts of like key moments that I wanted to get back into narrative, and I was like, "Okay, I feel a little bit better about this now."
you just read Faulkner.
Yeah,
and you needed someone to explain to you
exactly
what the fuck was going on with the stream of consciousness shit.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna.
His mother was a fish.
She's a fish. Well, I was gonna say that I think I'm kind of in that same boat because I mostly watch Chris play. And so I can't really have the complaint I guess a lot of people have with 9S's playthrough of the whole the repetitive, because I actually it was one of my favorite parts of the game.
It's a weird part, right? Because I think he's one of the best characters in that game.
Okay.
Yeah. I think his whole progression,
his arc
is awesome and interesting to me. And I think it makes sense. A lot of people argue that there seems to be a quick turn. I don't think so, especially with his whole idea of how androids should act, but yet, or like how androids seem to play out something and aren't given the time to really think about what's going on.
They're always in this constant state where they're not able to be reflective. Yeah. Even though they have the ability to be.
And 2B tells them all the time, like, it doesn't matter. We're on a mission. This is supposed to be. Yeah, but what if? No. It's fine.
And then, I don't know. And then you look at what ends up which of them ends up being able to hold a deeper connection to personhood. We just have to start getting into it because I can't wait for So I think that 2B ends up being the character that gets more of the benefit of that at the end of it, even though she was not.
She has a more positive turnaround.
Yeah.
Well, I think because 2B's whole mission is just to kill scouting droids.
Yeah.
As they start to learn more. Well, and that's something that definitely has to be thought about for the Yorha group, because scouting droids are always constantly getting information. The more information you have, the more stuff you have to think about.
Right.
And the more of the bigger picture they see and are allowed to just think about that. It reminds me a little bit of this quote from this astronaut who went. What happens to everyone who goes to space, apparently, and they always say something similar to this, where they finally get that shot of the Earth, and they're looking at it, and they go, oh, all of it's just petty bullshit. Like, we're so small and insignificant. Borders are just these ideas we come up with to segregate ourselves, and it's all just pointless. But it's but they don't say it in this weird depressing manner. It's more of a beautiful,
It's the beautiful part of nihilism.
Yeah.
Which I think that that's a thing that's missed on a lot of people about nihilism doesn't have to be depressing. Nothing matters at all. Yeah. Which means that whatever you do matters to you.
Yeah. I have to explain this point of view to a lot of people, because I always tell them I'm an existentialist. Because I'm still trying to define the difference between nihilism and existentialism, and once I figure that out.
Right.
Because whenever I think of nihilism, I always think of the more extreme version of existentialism is that, no, we're not even humans, we're just these animals that are constantly
aware of ourselves.
Yeah, and part of me goes, but then why am I thinking about this shit so much?
Yeah.
Which is where my divide comes in. But, and a lot of people don't understand the more light version of that, where, it's all just random chance that you're here. But fuck, man, something rolled the dice, or all these chemicals came together and all these particles, and you're
exist.
Here. Yeah, you lucked out. The very fact that you exist means you won basically the universal lottery.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of people I don't think it.
And I think also kind of in that same realm is the thing that I get frustrated with most, I think, is when people talk about existentialism, nihilism, or surrealism. All these philosophies that agree, there is no objective truth to reality. They're like, well, what stops you from murdering and raping people constantly? It's like, well, I don't want to do that.
Because
I don't want to hurt people.
There's something inherent in you that's no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's that kid you tutored and was like, oh, the purge is the natural state of humanity.
Yeah, I hate that fucking... Oh, no. He doesn't listen to this.
Do you hate him because you relate to him? Or?
It's too real for your high school self?
God damn it.
I want to beat that kid.
It's why would law stop us if we were that extreme?
I feel like the law isn't there to... Oh, that's a very personal opinion. I don't think that the law generally is there to stop most people from doing things they would otherwise be doing. It's to discourage fucked up people who want to do that already.
Well, at least if it's used right.
Right, exactly.
And otherwise it becomes like a tool of oppression, but we're gonna...
Absolutely. Yeah,
so...
True that.
So what Chris was talking about, and what you guys were talking about, kind of like the assumption of the extreme. If you understand, therefore you assume it's the extreme that you see.
Yeah.
That kind of... that would kind of line up with their views on the robots. It would because like it's kind of like they have the surface. It's the whole theme of surface level assumptions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they assume all robots are gonna out to kill them, but you're the only one killing them. Like
yes.
you're the, and they're like they question their existence, and they have like these like cute, like they might have small things about them, like the animal lover robot.
Yeah.
Like small things like that, and you're killing them, and kind of like with 2B saying, "Oh, you can't have don't have emotions. Like you're not supposed to have emotions." Yet they all have emotions.
They all have
They all have emotions. They're all
because humans are dicks,
Yeah.
like their creator.
Yeah.
and they're to some extent just trying to imitate their gods. Like they're trying to become that.
Yeah.
And they have a much different approach. It kind of comes a little bit more natural to them.
Yeah.
Where they seem like they have personalities, just because they were built in that image.
Yeah.
While robots weren't.
Yeah.
But they now have nothing to do, and when they focus on human behavior, they only focus on tends to be one specific thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get that first scene, which is, in my opinion, the real tone setter of the game. Is all the robots just imitating sex.
Okay, yeah.
That's it's all like these really kind of more what quote unquote deviant. I'm saying that quotes just because it's not missionary behavior.
Not putting a baby in womb town.
Yeah.
Kind of sex.
Yeah.
The kind of sex that doesn't make anything.
Well, it's the kind of sex that if the Pope saw it, he would be sad.
and it's them like, and they obviously understand there's a product out of that too, because you see shots of them swaying these carriages that have nothing in them.
Yeah.
Until they finally figure out a way to birth something,
Yeah.
and that's where Adam and Eve come from.
Yeah.
And that. Oh well, no, Adam comes first, and Eve literally jumps out of his stomach.
Good reference. Hot reference.
Yeah. I remember that.
And there's these hot bishy boys that have sick tattoos.
What does a tattoo mean, Chris?
Okay, so tattoo means nothing.
He just thought it looked cool.
He thought it looked cool.
Is that a thing he said?
Yeah, that is a thing he fucking said.
That's what Yorha talked about.
He did say, though, where they got the tattoo design from was from the books they were reading. Which whenever you'll see shots of them at the table or something talking, and they're reading books.
Okay.
Learning just about humanity.
Okay.
And the lore reason that they had the tattoo is one of them saw it in the book, and they thought it looked cool.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. They don't. I mean, yes, you can say there's a profound some profound theory behind it.
Yeah.
But to the robots, there isn't.
Okay.
Or to Adam and Eve, there is not.
Right.
So.
Can I talk a little bit about symbolism on that?
Sure. Can you wait until I use the bathroom?
Oh, sure. We were talking about symbolism.
Symbolism.
What about it?
Could be better.
Well, as I've gotten older, I've realized symbolism has become more and more bullshit. Because it is a lot of the time people just choose things because they sound cool.
Yeah.
Or they make... And if they are an allusion to something, it's not... 99% of the time, it's not as deep as you think it is.
Yeah.
Unless the whole story is built around that thing.
So, I'm super ready for a lot of things I say in this episode to be things you disagree with. But
that's fine.
We'll see.
Oy.
But yeah, get ready for conflict, guys. This is gonna be hard and
yeah.
So
I'm out of this one.
2B. It's a Shakespeare reference. It's very clever. Every time though, they would say 2B, and then they would have some kind of monologue about the nature of existence. And I was like, oh man, okay, I get it, but pull back even a minute.
You know what? I never even thought of that.
Well, you didn't know?
Yeah,
to be fair,
even
you're
I figured
talking
that.
to the guy who's like, Shakespeare's okay at best, and I think
All right, that's where
I will not deny his importance.
sure.
Having said that, he is not a perfect man, and he is not a perfect writer.
Who is?
Yeah, hell, I don't even think he's the best at what he does, but...
Everyone, let's just remember all your heroes are frauds, and everyone will let you down. But
Hamlet gets saved by pirates off stage.
that does happen. That does
And they
happen.
all agree not to ransom him, even though he's the prince of fucking Denmark.
Yeah, you gotta ransom some people.
That happens in between a scene. That doesn't happen.
It happens off stage.
Yeah.
Here's what makes me love Shakespeare. I'll tell you the thing that made me love Shakespeare.
Sex scenes.
It's pretty great. It's pretty hot when you
Yeah.
see a man dressed as a woman getting it.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched a performance of A Midsummer's Night Dream,
Okay.
which isn't even my favorite play he's written.
Yeah.
But
My favorite thing about Midsummer's Night Dream is the Sandman story where all the actual fairies watch.
and they're like, that's not how I am.
Yeah.
That's not even how I.
And then everyone's like, no, that is actually.
That is he's fucking nailing it.
Life changing.
But the scene wherein, because near the end of the play, just before the wedding, there is a play that the characters who are actors put on a play in the play.
Yeah. Yes.
And basically, there's like lots of clear inside jokes to how Shakespeare Company would have worked. Like, oh, we have too many. There's not enough parts for everyone. You get to be a tree. It's very important. He has to climb you, and it's the actors that I were watching were doing it in traditional OP and all that.
Okay.
And the jokes actually land, and they work if you know how the rhythm works. But I think also a part of it is like people treat Shakespeare as literature and it's theater.
Yeah.
And so you miss a lot
that's
of it.
That's what I don't like about most Shakespeare studies that I've done.
Yeah.
Is that I feel like I should be watching this
live.
Yeah, because I think as a play it works. Like
it works great as a play. Yeah.
Because it's a fucking play. I don't think I should be reading it and like.
It's like trying to judge, Moonlight Kingdom just on a script, and it's like I don't know if this is gonna work. I remember I think I had a theater professor. He had like a table, and then he had like random stuff, and then he used that to visualize the plays. And I think that's like the salt shaker was Puck. It was crazy.
That's like fine. You just need that if that helps you visually like.
Yeah. And you need a point of reference, and so much of it is also like I feel like we're getting off topic, but briefly, so much of it is like wordplay that only works when you hear like someone.
It's a joke that has to be delivered by someone.
It's rhythm, cadence, speed, and like they're mispronouncing stuff on purpose a lot of the time because they're poor.
So are you saying comedy's hard?
Comedy's hard.
Yeah, comedy's
I know that's an unpopular opinion. Yeah. I know everyone thinks it's the easiest thing to do.
Well, it's the most to profit off of. That's why.
That's true. It's so profitable. There's so much money in it.
So I always think of this one line from the Fairly Odd Parents. Yes, I'm going there.
Please.
Where Timmy makes a movie. And he makes a movie with his friends. It's a real shitty, like, put-together movie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But everyone laughs because it's very comical. Mm-hmm. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
It's very funny.
And he wins like the grand prize for whatever that fucking tournament is. Yeah. The Tournament of Champions. No. And then he's like, "Hey, cool kids, look what I did. Isn't that impressive? Fucking won that shit. As you guys care." And they're all like, "Oh, comedy's the lowest form."
Oh my god!
Of entertainment, we did drama, motherfucker. and then even as a kid, I went, "Fuck these people."
Yeah,
comedy's hard, man.
Fucking hard.
You can't teach funny.
Can't teach funny. It's tough. You can learn techniques to make your funny. To make the funny.
Yeah.
It's the I forget who said it. I think it was Carlin. George Carlin maybe said something like that because he'd been doing movies for a while.
Yeah.
It's like, I know how to fake being serious.
Yeah.
But fuck you if you think you can fake being funny.
Yeah.
You're either funny or you're not. But, like, I can pretend I give a shit about what you're saying at any point.
Yeah.
And a brief... I know this tangent is going on kind of long, but I have to talk about it. So, do you hear Get Out got nominated for an Oscar?
I did hear that. It got nominated as a comedy.
As a comedy?
As a comedy?
Yeah.
That shit's fucked up.
It's nominated in the category as Best Comedy or Musical, which...
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What?
What old white man watched that and nominated the thing?
I literally pictured like an old white with chomping a cigar.
See, and I make that joke, and knowing how the Oscars are picked, I'm probably not that far
You're
off.
not wrong.
You're not wrong. And then, like, because all I think about is that scene with all the, like, the black cars.
Yes.
And then the white people, because they ride off in the bodies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
It's amazing.
I know. How is that funny? That was terrifying.
What part of that is
Nothing
fucking
was funny.
So I have to ask, because I've stopped giving a shit about, like, award shows, like, years ago.
Sure. Fair.
Because I know they're all bullshit.
They are.
And in my opinion, it only matters whether or not you like it or not. But is there a section for horror movies?
No.
So that's problem number one. Like, it is a horror movie. It's
So call it a drama,
social horror.
if you
So,
want
but
to.
that's my solution,
It's not
right?
a drama.
Call it a drama. Here's the thing, though. Key and Peele, Keegan. No, it's not Keegan. It's Peele.
Jordan
Peele.
Yeah.
Have this history of comedy, and we know them as funny guys.
Yes.
And there are some very comedic bits in there.
TSA boy. Yeah.
TSA
yeah. That dude is fucking funny.
Is your light in the dark, if I remember that trope's name right.
Yeah.
And that it's the funny thing you hold on to that keeps you going. And
swears at that white woman on the phone.
Yeah,
it's
and
fantastic.
has you bear through this really just awful situation.
So dark. Yeah.
So part of me's like, they go, oh, it's just a real, just dark comedy then.
Yeah.
And then that furthers my thing of, oh, whoever watches these are all hacks and don't know.
Whoever watches this has no context for it. Well, and we've talked about before how most of the pictures nominated for best animation, people don't fucking watch them.
Yeah,
they just vote, and most of them say, "Oh, I didn't actually bother."
Yeah, is it Disney? Okay, we'll give it to.
It's a kids' movie. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm Kate Blanchett. I'm
not
not blaming Kate Blanchett.
Well, that's why.
I'm not gonna watch Ponyo. I'm not gonna watch The Win.
Piece of fucking shit.
Well, that's why Big Hero 6 won that year. Remember that year, Big Hero 6 won? Well, that's because one of the judges came out, and she said that she picked the Big Hero 6. She was a tiebreaker for the judges.
Who was it up against that year? Do you remember?
What was it?
Because I don't remember.
Princess of the. It was a Ghibli movie by Isao Taka.
Oh, okay.
Was it the World War II one?
With the pilots, with the airplanes?
I think so.
I still haven't watched it. I have that movie. A friend of mine gave me that movie, so I gotta check it out.
Yeah. No, it's the one by Isao Taka. The one that's painted. The entire animation.
Oh, okay, yes.
I know. I don't remember the name.
I don't know either, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I remember but I do remember that year Big Hero 6 winning, and I liked Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. I don't think it's the greatest Pixar movie they've ever made.
I think it's a pretty good movie, though.
I think it's good. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it deserved the Oscar. It probably should have gone to the Ghibli film.
Yeah. Because the Ghibli film was a passion project.
Yeah.
And you can see the kind of work that...
Mm-hmm.
And again, when I say that, people shut the fuck up. I'm not saying, Disney doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm sure they work hard.
No,
they work hard. But, I mean, they have a computer program now that does a lot of that lifting. This shit is hand-painted, and that's just not done anymore.
They follow the Pixar rules of storytelling,
yeah.
which... we've talked about are actually really great rules.
They're excellent rules narratively, yeah.
But it's this thing where it also becomes very structured and you know how it works. It's the Marvel movie thing, the Marvel formula, where you know how this is all going to be formatted.
If you have watched enough Pixar or Marvel films, you kind of know the shape of the story at that point. And And, okay, so let me just say, not every movie you make is going to have to, like, shock me at the end with a surprise. You don't have to Shyamalan me.
Yeah.
But, it's good when you try and break out of that and do other things.
How do you play with those boundaries? How do you like break through it?
Well, I think that's why Isaiah Taka. I remember watching it. I think it's my favorite Miyazaki. Would that count? I think it's my favorite Ghibli film.
Yeah.
Because, that's probably a better way.
Because it pretty much went the opposite way in structure and visually that Miyazaki usually goes. Because that was when Miyazaki left. But he's back now, but that was when he left.
And then he's going to leave again? Is that right?
I guess.
He's doing one more that he's
That man's going to make movies until he dies.
Yeah.
Like,
just don't,
he's going to be at his desk when he dies. Like, I
believe that.
Fairly confident. That's what...
But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the reason Big Hero 6 won, because one of the judges' daughter said, "Oh, I like Big Hero 6." Like, okay, my daughter liked it.
Oh, my God.
Kids liked it.
So, and she said, yeah.
Boss Baby's going to win an Oscar one year.
She said the reasons they get picked like that is either petty things, biases, like it could be president, any type of bias, or depend on investments if they have investment on companies.
Was that crazy Oscar package that was delivered to their house?
Yeah, people get free iPads
movies?
and shit like that. Like
that's amazing.
I'm sorry. We gotta rein it back to the thing we were saying before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2B.
2B.
2 booty.
Kind of on the nose for me.
Yeah.
Also kind of on the nose was
9 Shota.
Huh?
9 Shota.
Yeah. Well, it was.
I didn't learn about that one until way later.
I didn't know.
I think it's perfect.
Go ahead. Explain. You tell the people. Tell the people. About
Okay, so 2B is known as 2 booty, and there was for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Commander is known as the best character. Anyone says anything is wrong.
9S was nicknamed 9 Shota.
Yeah.
You can also call them tubes or nines, as other communities like to call them.
Sure.
You know why they look like that, by the way?
What,
like
you mean the outfit?
No, why they are like such these definitely sexualized to a degree.
Oh, that's some
but
S&M shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely like these quote unquote these very good looking androids.
Yeah.
So there is a canonical reason.
Yoko Taro likes drawing hot chicks.
But
that's the reason why.
One, that's the biggest reason. Two, the humans built them in the image of what at the humans' time was the ideal physical version of humanity.
Oh.
And they happen to look like anime characters because it's Japanese. But yeah, and that's why they're built like that.
Oh.
They also have genitals that work.
Really?
I don't know if you know that. Yeah, they can put them on, and they function.
And take them off?
And they yeah.
Like an archer, yeah.
And they function as they want them to. But they can't actually give birth, I think.
Okay, so they can just give it or take it, but not deliver.
No. They can't make something.
Right.
I'm going to use that. Take it.
No, I'm just now thinking about... I have to stay on topic. I'm trying not to digress. I'm sorry.
Okay. The 2B.
2B. And then also you have 9S and 2B in their outfits wear blindfolds for most of the story.
Yeah.
Except when they have great revelations.
Yeah.
Or they learn something.
Yes.
Then they take the blinds from their eyes.
Yes.
That
gets a little out there.
A2 never wears them.
Yeah.
A2.
She's always been woke.
Never seen war. Yes, she's always been. A2 has
That's my one mean joke for this.
A2 has never worn them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if she has, we've never seen her.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are just two examples I could think of, but like, sometimes it felt like the creator was going, you guys get it? Because, like, they're... right?
He was drinking a lot, so he's like, ah.
Yeah, I don't know. He said in interviews that he drinks a lot when he writes. Because he finds his stories are more interesting if he's drunk.
Yeah, he used to drink less with Drakengard series because he was screaming at the people to finish their job. And so Platinum Games, since they're some of the best at what they do.
Great at what they do.
Yeah. He just drinks more.
Can I just tell you,
What?
this makes so much more sense. That someone who's fucking hammered out of his mind wrote this shit. Cause no, you don't get it. Now he's not the same robot. Now he's a different fuck you. He's no. Jesus, listen.
I'll make him big if I want to. Thank you very much. But yeah, become as gods. The moment the Wi-Fi is down, these robots kill each other.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
I absolutely love that scene. Like,
oh no, it's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that goes into my whole thing of robots taking these aspects of humanity and trying
and aping it and not quite understanding what they. It's almost like. Tell me if this is too strange for you. Mm-hmm. It's almost like watching very small children swear. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't understand it.
They're just copying a thing they've seen.
Exactly. Well, I think it goes back to Nick's thing. They only see it for the surface level.
Yeah.
They don't actually understand
the
nuances or the deeper meaning to what they're going through. And I think that's actually a big, powerful message for the game overall. Yeah. With which, Nick, you pointed this out to me, with reviewers only playing through the first ending.
Yeah, because...
sorry. Go ahead. No, it's your theory, so like...
Well, I was just saying that I think... I took a lot of it from the YouTuber writing on games.
Okay.
He's a YouTuber.
Yeah, well, I watched his video after you recommended it to me.
Fantastic.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, and he talked about kind of what I was feeling was about surface level assumptions and cycles.
Right.
So, with most games. I finished Horizon Zero Dawn yesterday of this recording. And even then, I was sitting there when the credits were rolling, and I'm waiting for something to happen, like in Nier. But I'm like, no, it's a game. Like, it's a AAA game that emphasized the best parts of a AAA game to the best of its ability, but that's it.
Yeah,
it's just it's a cycle. Opening credits, game, bittersweet ending, credits.
Yeah.
The cycle. So that's why they stop at a lot of the reviewers, because it's the cycle of they're so used to it. Mm-hmm. So they have the surface level assumption of, I just need to play this game when the credits roll, I'm done.
And that's where you get that famous quote from the reviewer who gave it like a 6 or something.
Yeah.
Going, if I finish the first ending, all the other endings are going to be the same.
Yeah.
My opinion's not going to change.
Exactly. Same with Matt from Best Friends, you remember? Yeah. That was amazing.
And that's what happens is that, they get caught up in that cycle and they don't actually finish. They don't go through what actually that game is trying to say with its mechanics. Yeah.
So, also, I was going to say, within this is when I argue that when 2B says don't have emotions, I argue there's a meaning to that. People say there is no meaning. I argue there is. Because she made a surface level assumption that emotions gets in the way of the objective.
Okay.
She doesn't see the deeper meaning until she starts... Even though she always has emotions, she keeps having these emotions, but she saw them as getting in the way of the mission.
Right.
But when she starts opening herself up, she starts reverting away from the cycle.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. And also the whole place blows up.
Yeah, that's true.
That
ass.
I think you're definitely onto something in terms of that, and that's why Yokotaro in a recent interview came out and said, no, I think if people play the game and they stop at A, like, first of all, not the majority of people who buy games don't actually finish them.
True.
And that's completely true. Mm-hmm. That's statistically proven. Mm-hmm. And they'll probably stop at A. And that's fine. That's their playthrough. Mm-hmm. That's how they decided to enjoy the game, and I am no one to tell them to how to do it, and that will be the story they get out of Nier.
Yeah.
And that to me just goes even deeper into your think, people are going to do that, like, because they're used to that, because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think structurally those endings work so well.
Yeah.
Even though, if you've been playing Yokotaro games, there's like, it's going to be a shit ton more endings.
Yeah.
He becomes a little bit more predictable. It's the whole idea of structure. And I think there's a football game going on.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, I don't think the mic picked it up, but Ian's like,
what the shit was that? I thought an alarm went off.
They're having a stroke and a clap.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just heard. I'm sorry.
That like broke all the tension. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I don't even fucking remember what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
So.
Cycle Yokotaro.
Oh yeah,
Yokotaro's
reviews.
Yeah, and that's what I guess what I'm saying is that's what it's gonna be. People are so used to it.
Yeah.
And like we said before, when you've been watching something or done by the whole Yokotaro being predictable if you know Yokotaro.
Yeah.
That's only if you've been following Yokotaro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird because you're following someone who deviates from the formula so much that you start seeing their own patterns because they're human and and any artist has a pattern.
Yeah.
Just based on nature, like.
Yeah.
But they're still like a huge deviant from what everything else has done.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I think it is fine that Yokotaro still does this stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you with your analysis of that.
No, I like that theory actually. I think that's great.
And I kind of say that because after playing Horizon, I kind of like laid back in my chair, and when the credits rolling, I was sitting there like, oh, okay, I played all the games I wanted to play this year.
Oh,
okay.
Breath of the Wild, P5, Nier, and now Horizon, all the main games, and Tekken 7 as well. All the main games, and I sat back thinking about what impacted me the most, or like what's making me sit down and think about it.
Yeah.
And it's Nier.
Oh, okay.
It's Nier Automata. Nier Automata is having more of an impact on me than games in a while. Like, I think just given the whole E ending with E, and then thinking about like how.
Well, we'll get to the ending with E.
Yeah.
Because I think it's perfect.
I was hitting it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, anything else with symbolism or?
Gosh, what else do I want?
By the way, I usually hate symbolism. Like, I really hate. Like, me and Nick have this running thing where we watch something, and when it's so fucking obvious that's supposed to symbolize what it is, we either one of us, and I still do it with like friends, just go symbolism.
Like when Superman did the Christ pose.
Oh sure, symbolism.
Or like you're basically saying that every time something happens in Eva. So
yeah, every single fucking shit. One piece of symbolism that I miss and I wish there was more of is a man and a woman look deep into each other's eyes. They lean in as the camera turns to curtains flapping open. I don't know why.
What? You just want all these sexual...
I want the camera to pan away to a window where a train is going into a tunnel.
A flower blossoms.
Where a flower blossoms. Where I want it to
where
be...
a flower loses its petals if it's like dark.
Jesus.
It's 1955, and then somewhere in the desert in Nevada, an explosion happens.
It's just that shot of the hydrogen bomb over like the Pacific going on.
somewhere in the far east, a man has made like one of those T-shirt guns that shoots hot dogs. So symbolism, yeah.
What'd you think of since we were talking about Shakespeare and all that? What'd you think of the play scene?
Oh, I liked the play. I thought
they're doing Romeo and Juliet, right?
Romeos and Juliets.
Oh yeah, Romeos and Juliets.
I don't know. What was your takeaway from the performance?
Like I said, this all their stuff goes to
depth.
me. Yeah, well, it goes into the whole lacking depth and only understanding yourself, because if you, it's just an interpretation of everyone die. Romeo and Juliet must always die.
Yeah, and
there's always this stupid, just fine. I think Romeo and Juliet is like one of the most contrived. Like, well, no, contrived is really harsh.
No, go ahead. It's
I think it's stupid.
I think it's one of the most overrated.
Yeah.
Having said that, I do understand a lot more of what people assume that story is supposed to be, like little star-crossed lovers doesn't mean they're supposed to fall in love.
Yeah. And
that's where the tragedy comes from. No, it's foreshadowing in that no, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's cool. But if you are gonna get so mad at me for my opinions,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What about mine?
Oh no, people are gonna love you more than anyone.
I don't get it.
You come out of this
You're the
smelling
favorite.
best.
You're the.
Yeah.
You're the
darling.
You're the
Stop.
You're the everyman.
Oh, that's fucked up. I would have taken the first compliment.
Your name is Nick, and everyone loves that about you.
Look, when you go into the bar at the end of the day, where they're not saying my name, they're not saying his. It's oh no! We're saying your drinking is tearing me so hard.
Yeah, everyone knows you. That's you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they all die. And everyone was in Juliet's.
Fuck you.
And it's just constant chaos from all like the fight scenes that happen in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And how there's always someone killing.
Yeah.
And all the tragedy is kind of stems from something dumb or like I wouldn't call it dumb. I think the point is that it's just the universe trying to tell them no. Because on the one hand, the whole the priest didn't get there in time because there was a plague, or they thought there was a plague, which was weird to me because I thought wouldn't they just burn down the building? Weren't we in that time?
Yeah.
No, shut up.
But the fact that he gets out, I'm like, buddy, you are lucky.
Lucky.
Lucky Ted.
And it's all like the reasons are just out of their hands.
Yeah.
So it seems senseless. That's what I got from that. Like, it really is just about this senselessness
of fate.
Yeah, at least that's what I interpreted their message. Or what I got out of
this is within the game, or is this just your interpretation of Romeo
within the
and
game?
Juliet?
That was me connecting the thing.
All right.
I don't know. I have no strong opinion.
Sure.
What about Pascal?
What about Pascal?
And John Paul? Like with their symbolism.
Oh, John Paul is the guy who thinks he understands philosophy, but is just a dick and an asshole to everyone. And like the robots that swoon over him think he's this deep, profound thinker, where he's actually never said anything
of value.
He just goes off, and he's that real moody artist in your family that thinks he's gonna like, oh, I understand the world. No one.
Everything's bullshit.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. No one's ever understood that.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're saying?
I mean,
no, but I'm not saying no one's ever understood that. I think a lot of people understand.
Most people understand how shitty everything is.
I would argue, even to a degree, I think everyone, to some degree, understand that. Whether or not you choose to address it, or even like to let it be part of you, and try to stifle it down, or try to stifle it down. So, but yeah, he's that guy. There's actually no substance there. It's the illusion of substance.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a lot of philosophical references.
Oh hell yeah! She's reading fucking Pascal reads Nietzsche.
He reads Nietzsche. His name is Pascal, who is himself a different philosopher.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, Nietzsche's rantings sound like those of a crazy person." I don't know. And it's one of those things of going, does Yoko Taro know Nietzsche went actually crazy?
He did go crazy
at the end of his life.
He had some bad times.
Yeah, it sucks. Because then his crazy sister rewrote all his stuff.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's why there's all that anti-Semitic stuff, because
that's not actually his point of view.
Yeah, because before he died, she said, "Oh, can you come to my wedding?" He's like, "No, you're marrying a Nazi. All anti-Semites should be shot. Let's never talk again."
Good for him.
And then when he dies, she's like, "Ah, fuck you. I'm gonna, like, this lion's like is Aryan race, even though it's just a lion."
Yeah, I mean,
that's why it takes such a weird turn.
And then.
I mean, he's one of many German men who have had their careers ruined by women, you know? Hitler. Other great guys. I was...
Just needed support and painting.
No, I was thinking about that drug addict who explained the brain. Freud.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You could have been describing anybody.
It could have been.
I was about to say that was like, fucking idiot. I'm pretty sure that was me at some point.
No, look. Everyone wants to fuck their mom. Look. Listen,
everyone. Yeah. So did you get anything from Pascal? Because
The dead children.
that scene's fucking. You know, if you turn her back on, and you go back, she sells those kids' body parts, not knowing what they are.
No.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that in my head is like one of the most downer moments of that game.
So, looking at it philosophically, I think that, like, the game... Let me just take it as a whole.
Okay.
Let me take that whole.
As a whole? Let's go.
As a whole.
Let's do this. Let's
get in there. Roll up our sleeves.
Both cheeks. Let's do
Okay.
it.
I think it's pretty existentialist / nihilistic, but I think there is a glimmer of hope at the end.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
If I had to do a really short kind of summary.
I would say that it flirts with existentialism or nihilism, but it never tells you where it's itself landing. Mm-hmm. It offers you options.
Yeah.
Without really saying, you know, this is worth your time or this isn't. Mm-hmm. It's saying like, well, these are good.
Yeah. Okay.
I would take that the game is more so, to what you said, the most popular Nick.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. That was a hard stare.
The game is setting you up to meditate on these ideas yourself, but it really does not give you solutions.
No.
It gives you questions.
It gives you more questions than answers, definitely.
To go chew on. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know that at the end... So, the main philosophical question at the end of the game is, what is personhood?
Yeah.
What makes you a human?
And that's like... That's pretty much anything with any android or like...
Yeah.
Well, specifically androids and robots.
So then it comes into...
It's either that or slavery.
Yeah, I mean, humanity and slavery. Those are subjects that are kind of at the hip at the moment. So,
yeah.
Sorry. What you end up getting is, my takeaway from it was, ultimately, I think that the androids are as human as the robots. That was my takeaway from it. Even though the androids are capable of independent emotion and all that, it's ultimately still a simulation of a thing that is naturally occurring.
Yeah.
And so, in that way, even it's just a more sophisticated version of copying a thing that they have learned from something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think it goes back to how humans try to imitate God, or at least what their idea of God is.
Sure.
As like this thing to always strive for.
This prototypical, like, this is the standard.
This is the ideal way to go through life.
Right.
And when they try to imitate human life, humans are their gods because they're the creators.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get from that. In terms of message, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot in terms of how to handle these nihilistic ideas of it is all pointless.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is one big one at the end. But let me start off with a bunch of smaller ones that I saw. So there's the thing with Yorha, right? In that you find out humans don't actually exist anymore.
Yeah.
They've been all killed. They've all died out.
God is dead.
God is dead. And the commander knows this. Mm-hmm. And Ines eventually finds out because of the virus. But the commander knows this and keeps on going and relaying those messages as timed messages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because she knows they need a purpose. Like, that all the androids need a purpose to keep on going. Otherwise, yes, this operation is all for nothing. Mm-hmm. And what better way to do that than having an enemy to constantly fight?
Right.
One that's constantly there, and one now, if there is going to be an end game and you do win, that's going to be so far off into the fucking future that you yourself will probably not be around to have to make that solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the easiest way to do it, just make a universal enemy that everyone can go for, not fully understanding what they are.
Or question it.
Yeah. What's an easier thing to categorize than a robot? Like,
right.
So I think that's one they definitely get. A bunch of them I think are some from just side missions, and the one I find the most fascinating, and I've been asking this question with other people, and have gotten like really interesting responses, is the question of what happens when you fulfill your purpose in life.
Oh yeah.
And is it better to know what that purpose is, or was it better never to know?
Exactly.
And the mission I'm specifically talking about in my head are the conversation with Angeal after you defeat it. It's that big giant robot that's just kind of
in the theater.
Dead. No. It's outside. It's after you fight. You remember the ones with the big wheels for hands?
Yes.
Okay, and you find one in the middle of the field, and you find out you can talk to it.
Yeah.
Later.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it can't do what it was designed to do anymore.
Right.
Its purpose was to take these guys down, but it can't anymore. It's crippled to the point of just, it sits there and thinks. And you have conversations as it goes along with its thought process of like, what do I do after? What is there? And that ultimate solution is, no, I think I'm done. I think there's nothing else for me, and that's why it shuts down.
Yes.
On its own accord.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the philosophical robots who you find just standing in towers not thinking. And then it turns out when you control them as 9S, they're having these really... the darker side of nihilism and existentialism.
Oh, yeah.
Where, there is nothing. What's the point? And eventually one of them jump off, like the building.
Yeah.
And that scene actually made me kind of hold my breath for a little bit. Because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's...
And that's the part of the question where it goes, what if you never know, like, what your purpose is life? That's the darker end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For that. So it presents you with two, if we're just going off those two missions, I haven't done every single mission yet, so there might be more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't found your purpose of life, or if you do know it and you've succeeded in it, you get probably the two darker ends.
Yeah.
Which both end in death.
Yeah.
Specifically suicide. So like, and then there's stuff of I just have to keep building bullshit goals to keep going.
Right, exactly.
And to keep other people going.
And so I mean that comes to the philosophical idea of the purpose of life.
Mm-hmm.
If life indeed does have a purpose,
mm-hmm.
is it predetermined? Are you just born and you're supposed to do something by conception, by your existence,
mm-hmm.
or do you have to like just make it up?
Yeah.
And make your own one, which is what one would probably think is I would think is a healthier option.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, well, no, I finished the thing I was supposed to do, so it kind of reminds me of Maria Bamford, the comedian Maria Bamford.
I've heard the name. I don't think I know anything about her.
She's
though.
very funny and very depressed. But she has this bit where she was like, "Oh, I just got so tired of people. Every time I just finished a TV show and I just did a comedy special, and every time I would do something, people would come up and, oh, so Maria, what are you doing next? What's next on your plate? What's the next project? What you building next?" And so I just decided I'm done. I finished early. Everything I'm going to do with my life, I already did.
Well, Trevor Noah said something like that.
Oh, yeah?
It was on tour. Hannibal Buress was doing his tour through, I think, Scotland.
Oh, uh-huh.
And Trevor Noah was there, I think, for an event, and they were talking, and then Trevor Noah said it was like an American thing. Mm-hmm. Where like, oh, what's your next project? What's your next thing? What you gonna do? And he always gives the same response of, I just want to tell jokes. And you're like, oh, you gotta have a project. Because they say that because that's what they believe in, what they were told.
Yeah.
Like, that your value as a person is not you yourself. You don't have value.
It's your product.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So,
I touched upon that once. To toot my own horn here, I gave a speech at my high school baccalaureate.
Oh, yeah.
And I mentioned, and I talked about how in this society we're in, I probably should have been really more specific about, well, it's an American society.
Yeah.
Specifically, other people have different views.
Uh-huh.
But it expects so much of you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It expects that you make something, that you produce something.
That you produce a product and something that is economic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good enough to just, like, well, I build birdhouses in my free time. It's like, what? You're not adding value to the account. Like, man, wow.
And at the end, my thing was, do something to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
But don't do it to, like, in a monetary sense.
Yeah.
Or even, what's materialistic sense.
Yeah.
Do it to help someone, to, like, make this journey we call life
on planet Shipper.
On planet Shipper, even better. But yeah, it's that thing, and I think it is a very societal thing here. There's this great YouTuber called Super Bunny Hop, who is also a journalist. Touched upon how certain things he interpreted. Specifically in relation to Japanese culture, in that it's one where you're working hard to fucking do it. You're a salaryman. You're always making something. There always has to be something you're making and producing. And Yoko Taro is so, like, probably if you had to categorize him, probably closer to absurdist. If you had to, I think I've never. I mean, I don't know him personally. So, me and him are buddies.
When we talked last time, I got the sense.
I was talking to him over a beer.
That is actually what you probably would have talked about, given him.
Were you drinking before I got here?
Yeah.
Why don't you shut the fuck up and sit down?
But, like, you see him in these interviews, and he's rolling around on the floor, like, moving around doing shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, well... And it's so out of the norm that he's so going against what quote unquote Japanese culture has to have you do, in that it's strict, get that information out, like do your fucking job and, like, produce something. That he thinks that he relates a lot of that to Nier. And that there is this idea of you have to keep doing something when in actuality you don't. And you have to figure out what your own purpose is. It's why I think 9S takes to revenge so much, like, once 2B dies. Because he just found out his whole existence is for nothing. There is no God to appease anymore. And his best friend is gone. So what do? Well, the best friend was the only thing that was giving me purpose in life. They've been taken away from me now. Who I have to blame someone, and the robots are the only people on Earth to blame.
Right.
So that's why he goes. That's how I interpreted his revenge. Like thing.
Oh shoot! I was gonna say. So with Nier 1, Ian, that Nier the first game was inspired after the events of 9/11.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. So he said. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna explain. Yeah, same thing. Yoko Taro. He was asked what inspired Nier, and he said the things were inspired after the events of 9/11, when he saw on TV of Bush and his administration talking about the enemy, the axis of evil, the enemy, and then Bernie
from Sesame Street.
Someone
reminded me he was on a video, like, for Osama bin Laden, so
I forgot about that.
You don't remember that? Okay. I'm gonna have to send you that. Go check out Craig's video about Muppets conspiracy with 9/11. So go ahead. The events of 9/11.
Oh yeah.
As you were.
And the axis of evil.
And it was it wasn't Laden. I think it was Saddam at the time.
Oh, maybe.
Where he talked about the American scumbags, and Yoko Taro talked about his fascination with both sides thinking they're in the right. And that's kind of even though both are wrong in their own way.
Absolutely.
And
both are,
and that's
Nier especially, both are horribly wrong
in their own way. Yeah, both the shades and the characters themselves.
And what's the thing that divides them? It's lack of communication.
Yeah.
They can't talk. They can't. There's a constant wall between them.
Yeah.
And even those who can, such as you get with Kaine and her curse, being able to understand the shadows, they don't care. Like, it's just the enemy.
And that's why they speak different languages,
Yeah.
because George Bush and they speak different languages. And I kind of went into Nier Automata because there was an interview where I think it got to a point where Taro was asked, "Oh, so given your whole view on humanity shown through the game, what do you think of our humanity, like real life? What do you think of its progress?" He says that he kind of doubts that an entire race that killed each other for 2,000 years is going to have a happy ending.
Wow. Yeah.
And then that's kind of where a lot of the themes came from, was that what he said, like his view of that.
I mean, yeah.
And in terms of ending, because I didn't get to what I think the bigger message of how to handle existentialism or existential dread, goes a little bit into that. This because you had mentioned before cycles.
Yeah.
And so did you. And they kind of go into that, how in these endings, 2B and 9S are always going to end up dead.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And the pods realize that. They have that whole conversation at the end.
Yeah.
Where they say, do you want to keep doing this? Are you sure?
Should we keep doing this? Should we just stop because there's nothing anymore?
Right.
And Pod 482, and I remember the number, part of me thinks it's a reference to the meaning of life.
Very likely.
Yeah, very likely. Unless I'm getting the number wrong and I'm totally just up my own ass right now.
No, you were right. Don't question yourself.
And they bring them back to life at the end. That's what that last scene is. All the pods bringing 9S and 2B together to be brought back to life.
Yeah.
And the reasoning is, it's a cycle, but things have happened differently.
Right.
Let's try this shit again. Let's keep going. Maybe it'll be different this time. There's not a big chance it will, but
there is a chance.
But there's a chance.
Yeah.
And we might as well. Otherwise, there's nothing. That's why I interpret the last ending as a bit of, like, a little bit of happiness. Because it's like in the, very low. Very little. And like,
it's possible.
Like, it's possible. Keep trying.
Yeah.
Why not? Because the only other answer is nothingness.
There's just the void.
It's just the void out there.
Yeah, no, totally. I absolutely see that. And, like, the idea of... Oh, man. There's a lot you just said that I wanted to unpack.
There we go.
But...
I'm here to present ideas, Ian.
Man.
It's a long podcast.
So, in brief, absolutely I agree that there's way too much, at least definitely within our culture, but I think a lot, not just, it's not like America is the only one who's doing this, but the idea that your value is tied to your, like, monetary value.
Yeah, and I just mentioned, like, Japanese, well, specifically business culture.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Japan, so.
And the idea that, like, if you, not to get too hot and topical, but, like, if you had, like, let's say you're that... I don't think this is something necessarily people would say out loud, but I think that there is... I think
Ian
there is
spitting out the truth. I say shit other people don't say.
They're too fucking scared. I think there is an attitude.
Constant issue.
I think there are attitudes of people who have disabilities, whether they be physical or mental or whatever they are, that somehow that means you can't work as much.
That means you're a burden.
That means you're a burden on the rest of us, and that means you're not as good as a person. And so, like, that completely recontextualizes how we look at the value of a lot of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, not all of this sounds really gross. I'm sorry, but my genuine appeal, like, it wasn't until the 80s that most buildings had ramps, because they're like, well, that shit's just too expensive. You want to have a job? Work in a field, no feet.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, okay.
So the idea of connecting people to their, like, monetary value, like, that's a huge horseshitty thing. And I think we would do better to try and find value elsewhere.
That's what I'm saying, man. On this ship we call planet Earth, our contributions should be to each other.
It's the emotional way. Yeah. I'm saying it sarcastically.
I know, but
because I can't say anything genuinely. But
no, exactly the same here. I believe in my stuff.
I do, yeah.
But I have to say it like that.
Yeah.
But
Like, this is why you're the favorite.
That's why you're the favorite.
Really?
Because you
I don't know. I don't read the comments. I'll tell you you're the favorite.
What comments?
I'm happy. You know what?
Sorry, I didn't mean to jab Chris like that. That was my bad.
I'm happy to think that you're the favorite. I'm happy.
I'm content with that.
I'm not.
Yeah. Well, sorry. We all decided just now. And the fans. All the fans, they've decided.
Neil ramp now.
Wait. What,
but yeah, burden on society.
Burden on society, and this idea of like placing your value in that way.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it is important that there is more focus put on like people saying like, oh no, there's other ways to find value.
And in life.
Yeah, in your life, other than just like.
It's not bad having a goal.
It's not bad, and I'm not saying like money is inherently evil, but isn't it? But
it sure looks like that.
It sure feels like it. But no, I think that's one aspect of the story that we're absolutely seeing there thematically, totally.
Yeah.
And then the other one, remind me the second part of what you said. I completely forgot where I was going with it.
So, in terms of monetary value, this idea to keep going despite a cycle.
Oh, absolutely.
And with if there's a chance to take it.
And then to what the creator what you said about the creator saying, 2,000 years of violence is probably not going to end happily. Yeah, probably. But we should. I don't think that again. That's for the absolute like darkest version of nihilism that people like to think of, but
that people think is the main point of it.
Exactly, but I think,
in a sense, it is. But it's what you do with that information.
Yeah. That
counts. Do you just give up?
Or do you say, well, I know what the odds are, but it's either quit or keep trying anyway.
Yeah.
Because the only option is to kill yourself.
Yeah.
The
only option is just to stop.
Or keep trying.
Yeah.
Either work really hard and try and make it better, or quit.
Yeah.
Those are really the choices I think you existentially have in your life.
That's why I play video games.
Yeah, man.
So, I guess that can actually apply to the humans, the little girl AI from Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Because they created the cycle that humans were used to.
Yeah.
The humans created the cycles for Yorha that they only knew, the humans knew.
Yeah.
So if you try to make yourself they made themselves as their gods. So because of that, they're stuck in cycles. Because they aspired to be these people where they just stick to what they knew. So with the game, it's kind of puts you through the cycles of what you know about games. Like, as I said before, the first 4 endings.
Yeah.
And then it isn't until the last ending where you try something different.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm sorry, I'm gonna segue a little bit. In Goodnight Pun Pun, the author says a similar thing Yoko Taro is talking about, where it's the workforce thing issue.
Hey man, it's the only country where people have officially died of work exhaustion. Overworking.
Oh, it's super common. Yeah. And how like the trains now have to like slow down because people are like jumping in front of them.
Oh yeah.
It's so common. And in the nets too, but anyway.
And then I'm sorry. Yeah. And then in New York, apparently that's also becoming an issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just the most fucking revolting thing ever with this. There was this one, like they were doing interviews about like, oh, how do you feel about like worker exhaustion? It's getting worse in Brooklyn because of the prices and this and that.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I missed like 3 of my trains. Why couldn't she have done it in front of a 6 a.m. train? Exactly. What the fuck is wrong with you humans?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Which that still that then ties.
But that points out the whole problem with that.
Yeah. I'm losing money because you're dead. What is wrong with you?
Your corpse is in front of my door, sir. Why'd you have to do that?
There's plenty of other doors.
Yeah. Shoot, I won't say exactly what's seen in Pumpkin because it's a super spoiler. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm still reading it.
Yeah, no. So I'll just say the quote itself. There's a character at one point, and is talking to another character, and he explains that, you're kind of forced to, you're shamed if you don't care. Like, he talks about that, where, like, if you honestly don't feel
well, I think I know what character is going to say that.
Yeah. So if you have, that's why it's called brutal. That's why they call it brutal honesty, because it and they call it little white lies because it encourages you to think of others before putting yourself and your feelings. Like forget what you think. Like if you tell people, I don't have an opinion at all about this. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, I don't have a genuine feeling about it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just something a subject or an issue I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, what the fuck? You're against it? Like.
Right. Yeah.
So like he talks about where you have to work on he said like it was kind of his philosophy because all the characters have their own beliefs and approaches to life. So he said like his approach was like it was a balance of like caring but selfishness, where it's kind of like you do have to be a little selfish sometimes.
Yeah.
No, you do in order to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you on a very primal basic level, if you were not selfish at all, you would be constantly giving your food to other people and starve.
Yeah.
It'd be
because you're consuming. If you're going with the full idea of no selfishness, you're going with the idea of me eating something is essentially taking food out of someone else's mouth.
Yes.
That I can eat it. But you have to on a primal level be selfish in order to survive.
Yeah, it's the old there's an old Jewish fable about I'm bringing that into town. It was in they did it on one of the seasons of Fargo actually, on the show. It was very good about the man who gave up everything.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's
I haven't watched Fargo. It's on my list.
It's basically it's a story. There's a rich man who, a la the Buddha, in his 50s finds out, oh no, there's pain and suffering in the world.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I should do something. So starts up a charity, gives away his money, then gives away his furniture, then sells his house.
Yeah.
Then he's like, what? People are still sad? And then he decides he's going to kill himself by just divvying up his organs for other people. And so he's a man who literally gave up, I want to give
self-sacrifice to give everything they own.
And then the end of the story is, and then in the end, the girl who's being told the story is, and did it work? And he's like, I don't know. Are people still miserable right now?
So,
and it's and I'm not saying that selfishness is the way to go.
Right. We're not Gordon Gekko.
No. But there's a balance. There's a balance to do in everything.
Yeah.
And at some point, you do have to think about your own self-preservation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the Carlin, help yourself, then help others.
Yeah.
That was the whole Carlin thing. But
especially with mental health and all that.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to care about yourself, man.
I need a day off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that was Asano was saying, and he got criticized pretty hard because he said he did a lot of things with pun that aren't the usual things that Jumps or manga literature. Yeah, that's what you'll see them. You saw them too. Or they're common here, like sex criminals. Common sex is in their life shown.
Yeah.
But it's not in a porn way. It's just a natural part of their life. That's not usually approved in a lot of manga nowadays.
Oh, okay.
They want to keep it as the extremes, as only an action or
black and white,
only a porn. Yeah,
binary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have the extremes of that, and then what you were talking about with the guy interview in the Brooklyn.
I don't like gray areas.
He had the extreme selfishness, and then, as you said in the fable, the extreme caring.
Yeah.
So it's that pendulum swing, trying to get in the middle.
There has to be a happy medium before killing yourself to give your organs away and screaming at a woman who killed herself for getting in your way. But also to your point about cycles, I think also a part of the story that you can take away is, like, now that there are no humans, they really don't have to. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And that is to say, like, not to say that they need to shut down, but if they continued, they don't have to do what the robots were doing, wherein they were, mocking up what humanity used to be like. If they wanted, they could just do a whole different thing that had nothing to do with humanity. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but they choose to because, like, that's all they know.
That's all they know, yeah.
And it's really fucking hard to come up with an original idea.
It is. It's. I mean, that comes back to, like.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No.
I'm explaining why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's to your point. Let me back up your point. Because we're all friends.
Yeah. We're all buddies. I like to think so.
On less of a okay. On less of a macro scale, if you look at it on an individual scale, let's say, of parents and children, it doesn't matter. Like, very frequently, even if you really don't like who your parents were, and you're like, or let's say you had bad ones, and you're like, I want to be nothing like them. You're kind of put into a position of defining whatever comes next as either like that or not like that. It's you can't be in the vacuum of, I'm just going to do a whole other thing. I hope that read clear.
No, so let me try to see if I can make sense.
All right, I'm out.
Too much philosophical bullshit for this.
It's all put in the context of what you've already been through.
Yeah.
And you don't really have a choice in that.
Yeah. And that's not to say that's inherently bad. It's just simply put, where you're at, that's all you know.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea of, hey, can you come up with an original color?
Right, exactly.
No, because, like, you only know certain context.
Yeah.
And just blending a color is taking two things you know.
Right.
And putting it together. And still, in theory, a known color because you've blended it together.
Exactly. So, let me use a weirdly specific example, maybe. So, let's say you have a kid who's raised by drunks.
Okay.
And they have, in my mind, 3 options they can take. They can either mimic that and they become drunks. They can be, like, teetotalers and just, like, assholes about, no, I don't touch alcohol ever.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh yeah, my parents had a problem, but, sometimes I have a drink, but I watch out for it. All of their options are either way determined by the experience they didn't have a choice in.
The thing they've witnessed.
Yeah.
And that interpretation. It reminds you of the story by, Childish Gambino.
Oh my god.
Donald Glover, right?
Don Glover, yeah.
I listened to him while he was on the WTF podcast for Mark Maron.
Oh, cool.
And he was talking about how he was raised in this house that would just house kids who...
He was a foster kid, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, because he was adopted. Was he? I don't... Because the story was a little confusing to me, because it's either, yes, he was a foster kid, or his parents just happened to be... And I know this to be true because they housed foster kids.
Okay.
Just were really good people and would house other foster kids. But there was one night where he was just sleeping and there was this kid on the bunk right above him, and he out of nowhere asked Donald Glover, "Do you want to touch butts?" And he was like, "No, no, I'm okay." And he's like, "Oh. Okay, I just thought that's all." Everyone goes to sleep. He's like 6, and what he found out was that kid was being molested.
Oh no!
At that age, so he only knew the way to go to sleep was after that.
Oh no!
And it's horrifying.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And it's so bad, but that's the context he grew up in.
And he doesn't get a choice in that. He only gets a choice in responding to it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my point.
No, but there is a truth to that, in that I think that'll probably be the best way to sum this up. Is you only get to not with the butt touch.
I was okay. Continue.
But you have no choice of what life throws at you. Your only choice is how to respond to it.
Yes.
And that's what defines you.
Yeah.
Is the responses to that.
Yeah.
But sadly, it's going to be in the context of whatever you went through.
Which is random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why the whole idea of privilege exists. It's just luck at the draw. And your whole outlook on life is based on that. Or not totally based on it, but it has an effect there. Yeah.
The foundation is.
Foundation's there, the effect is there.
Yeah.
So no, yeah. That's what it is.
It's the I don't know if I've used this before on the podcast. There was a kind of physical object lesson on what privilege is like for people's life, and that is to say, like, let's say the American dream of having a wife and kids, having a coupling off, and having money and having enough money to have like a little house. That's like a comfortable living. Yeah. That's the American dream, let's say. And technically, I tell a classroom of 30 kids, all of you can do that, right? So to prove whether or not you could do it, here's a waste bin that I'm going to put near the blackboard, and all of you get one shot to throw a crumpled up ball into this. The kids who are at the front 2 rows are probably going to do it. They might miss, but they got a way better chance than the kids at the back who have no choice in the matter.
Yeah. Some who can't even see the basket.
Exactly. But hey, I'm not lying. You do have a chance to technically win and do the thing you want. So, yeah. I think about that a lot.
That's a pretty good way. That's probably a good way to.
I like that analogy as
a simple.
Yeah. I'm not lying. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Anyone literally could do it. It's possible. Don't call me a goddamn liar. That fucking kid. That fucking purge kid. Gonna fucking.
He was the one who did the Jeffrey Dahmer poster.
I've got an 8-foot vertical leap. Fuck you, Jeffrey Dahmer.
He's a cute baby boy.
He's a cute little baby, and he's a silly monkey. He's a
silly little boy.
He's a silly little thing. He's what was it? And a good comrade. What was it?
It was something like that. There was like 3 things, but
it was
silly little boy is the one.
A silly little boy.
Jesus Christ.
He ate them after he played with them. It was.
So, let's talk about the more... Because we've been doing a lot of philosophical stuff with this, which is why I think this game's story works. Is that we can have this conversation based on just that. And that... How impactful is the story that it leads to these... To you just constantly talking about it. Fucking months after I played it. And like... But I still remember so much. Or at the very least, I remember the ideas that it left me with. So let's talk about some more of what actually happens in the game.
Okay.
So more story structure. And so you said you were gonna ruffle some feathers today.
What's the feathers you're gonna rustle?
I didn't really like it. I didn't
really like it.
I didn't care for it very much. It's just so hard to follow so much of the story.
Automata? Or?
And it's definitely harder to follow it. Like I said, like we mentioned, your case was probably not the most ideal.
Yeah.
Especially for a game that relies on you.
So, not to backtrack, but I think also thematically, I probably lost a lot of the punch when I'm not the one in the pilot seat.
Yeah.
Because so much of the game's structure is based around, like, no, this is you. It's up to you making a choice, yes or no. But I think that also maybe affected how much I could relate to the material, because it wasn't... I wasn't putting myself in a position of, I am this protagonist. I was...
You're watching someone else be the protagonist.
Right, I was removed. So I was treating it like a film, not like a video game.
Which is, in my opinion, not how this game should be treated.
It's probably not how it's intended.
Yeah, it's a game that utilizes its medium probably to the most fullest extent I've ever seen a game use it.
Yeah.
To even the, like, I was talking to Nick about this the other day, the trope of self-sacrifice this is done in such a different way than I've seen only ever in Nier, like the original Nier.
Yeah.
And this was done even to a more extreme extent that I don't think any other game has ever done, nor film or book. So. Like a book, how would you even do that? You would have to burn the fucking book.
It's 12 choose your own adventures.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, I had in mind I'm not probably getting the full effect of this.
Yeah.
And this is probably this game very much is made for its medium. It's not meant to be taken other ways.
It's not. It's a story that can only work as a video game.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's what the point of that video you were talking about.
Yeah.
So upon watching it, there were lots of points where I was confused and lost, and I had to like stop or rewatch and like, why does that matter? Who are they? Who are they?
Yeah.
I was your annoying aunt. I said, no. What is that one? He does the yeah? Okay.
Oh, like 2 minutes in, like, who's that?
We're
gonna find out.
We're gonna find out now. I don't.
Find out, Graham. What do you want to movie?
Oi.
Oh, he looks like an important person. Why isn't he talking more?
Oh, I like her hair. She's not even a character. I don't.
Is Star Wars based on a true story?
That was a Yahoo question. Was that?
Oh no, I got that from 70 Show.
Oh, okay.
Boy, what a reference.
Boy, what a timely reference.
Probably not the best skit.
I just want to point out, I fucking hate what they do with that 70 Show now, where they speed it up. Like, I don't know if you watched it syndicated recently. That show sped up to fit more time.
Really?
Yeah. Fez sounds weird, and
sounds weird.
Hyde sounds way weirder, and most of his jokes don't land because his is very supposed to be slow and drawn out.
Yeah.
That show is really weird.
That's fucking. What channel is doing this?
I don't know. Every time I've seen it syndicated, like at a hotel or something, or at someone else's place.
It's like time and a half.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Well, to fit more ads.
That's insane.
Dude, it's fucking weird, man.
It's common.
That's so weird. Oh my god.
Yeah.
My god.
I first noticed this when I went to San Diego for the first time in like years.
Oh.
And like I was staying at this place and that 70 show was on. I was like, I'll catch some old laughs. And it's fucking fast. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, back to
So
for
example, one of the big events when you finish it the first or second time where 9S is the avatar for Adam, is that right?
No.
For what?
For Adam, no. Adam. So the first time I assume you're talking about that boss fight, right? The last boss fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that works out is that you find out Adam's been trying to recreate human architecture.
Yes. Okay.
And that really cool fucking room. Like first time you see it, it's so like just crazy and slightly disturbing because you haven't seen anything like it before.
Right.
Just messing with expectations. He's been trying to, and this is where the book reading comes from, and again, just trying to recreate human architecture and art.
life.
Yeah. Specifically in an art form type of sense. Now, he doesn't become the avatar. What happens is, he doesn't become the avatar. 9S is hacking into Adam like he does with any other robot.
Okay, yeah.
Just trying to...
And then you go on the stairs and all that.
Yeah. And so and at the very last confrontation with him, 9S does do that. And that's how he's able to... And he's able to type into what you find out all robot... What Nick calls the Wi-Fi. But the thing that all robots are hooked up to. And that's how he's able to distribute himself into other robots.
Okay.
So that's why he's alive at that ending.
And then he talks to 2B from his
robot
new form.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's missing the last couple seconds. Her basically being sad. Because the version he uploaded was that one that was uploaded into Adam at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he mentions that. Like, it's they play around with that idea with the save points, in that this version is the one right before whatever happened after you saved.
Right.
That's why it has everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that if you know the scene where during the ending of, I think like the endings for C and D, or towards the end you choose either to be 9S or A2 in the fight.
Yeah.
D.
D. Yeah. So if you are 9S and you hack A2 4 times, the fourth time you hack her, it, instead of the top down view, it gives you a first person view of the shooting. You go through it, and then it starts panning out more, and then it reveals that you're shooting within the menu of the game. And how
I didn't find out about this until way later.
you know how in the game you sort through all those menus.
Yeah.
You're shooting and destroying those, so you're destroying A2's memory and storage.
Yeah.
And then that's how you kill her.
Yeah.
Or I saw
but
that.
that's how he uploads himself into the robot.
No, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What did you think about it narratively?
Narratively, and as the one playing it, I think it's probably the best story I've ever seen for a game.
Okay.
And this is where we're coming from. But again, to you, I don't blame you at all, because I fully believe, and I kind of regret telling you to do an LP of this, but I knew there was probably going to be no way that you could play this, so that's why I gave that option.
Yeah.
I fully believe this game has to be played in order to fully understand and get the impact.
I'm sure that I lost huge... I don't doubt that. That I lost huge parts of it.
Mm.
That my experience can't compare.
There was a review lately that I read where this person absolutely hated the game and didn't understand why people were talking about it so much, because she was like, well, the story, you start seeing the tragedy coming after a while. And part of me was reading this and I go, well, I think she's putting it out of the context of a video game.
Okay,
in terms of... First of all, she's very good at they were very good at seeing it as itself, as its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that's where you start seeing the tragedy coming, over and over again. And then in my head, it goes, if you put it in the context of a video game, which is the medium it's trying to address, and it's the reason he chose to tell this story the way this is. Remember, this is a man who has no problem making who has no problems writing novellas or light novels, and making fucking stage plays to tell certain stories.
Yeah, it's stage play.
But he chose this story to be the video game for very specific reasons. And in the context of video games, none of this shit happens. It's so different and out there that you can't that's why it works effectively to do that. Mm-hmm. You're not expecting that. You're not expecting your protagonist to die, who is supposed to be an invincible force of nature in other games. At least narratively. The deaths are blamed on the player, not the plot. Mm-hmm. And that's why it works. It plays around with the idea of being a game to its fullest extent. Mm-hmm. That's why I think the ending's perfect. But I loved it. I thought it was great. It was the first game in a long time to actually, and I am not afraid to admit this, cry at the end. There was to be fair, there was a very specific thing that came up. In that scene where you're shooting all the credits, and if you do die, it gives you a message to kind of taunt you.
Yeah.
There's a message in there that says video games are just silly things, right?
Yeah. And
that, I don't know why it hit me so much. Maybe because I was on that emotional ride. But I think also at the same time I was writing this paper and preparing for a presentation on relating video games to mythology and how that's told. And there's always this fight of... You may have found this with comics or graphic novels. This fight of, no, it's a legitimate medium.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pushback. I mean, comics have just kind of started to get their own.
Mm-hmm. And even then, it's graphic novels that are the only ones held.
Yeah. And I think games actually have already produced things that are.
I think so too.
Valid.
I think Shadow of the Colossus and Ico are the things I can go to. Look, no, this is art. This is something that has something profound to say, or does something.
I think the only thing that's the thing that's actually behind is academics in art.
Yeah.
Finally getting together and saying, "Oh no, we have to start writing papers on this and taking this shit seriously and analyzing it critically and discussing it."
I don't want to do that. I didn't spend 50 years on this earth talking about
you can say
fucking that same picture of Kronos eating his children.
Yeah, you relate to that.
I mean, I just want to spend a weekend in the south of France and watch some paintings a syphilitic mind made.
Well, that kind of goes into... I mean, we could apply that to the whole discussion we had earlier about comedy or animation.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole thing of surface level assumptions.
There's a huge amount of...
No, you're right, Nick.
hit it on the head. This is why you're...
This is why you're the favorite.
That's why I'm the favorite.
We're ready to sum it all up.
We're all here talking,
jerking our dicks off. You're over there.
You're over here getting low done.
What?
Jesus Christ.
No, but
not for a reach around. What?
But so to Jordan Peele. To Jordan Peele. Fucking horror is not respected.
Horror is not.
No, it's because they all assume it's slasher flick, cheesy.
They all think it's garbage, and I mean, I am the first person to admit not everything he has written is gold. But Stephen King has written books that
they're great,
great novels. But because
there's a reason people keep coming back.
But because of his reputation as that spooky guy, he is not on lists where he gets serious. Oh, I did air quotes again. Sorry, serious people awards. He doesn't get nominated for the Bloomsbury or anything like that. When, I think a novel like Misery. Yeah. That's a legitimately great novel talking about the distinction between fans and their creators. And
where's the line?
Where's the line? What's the creative? How do you remove yourself that way?
Yeah. It's only been recently that sci-fi and fantasy are even now considered in top academic circles. Yeah. I have a professor, and I remember him talking about that. He had to fight for the sci-fi classes and the genre fictions class to be part of that. To be for you to be able to get credit for them as a curriculum because they are legitimate studies.
Yeah.
I had a professor like that, but it was for jazz. Did I tell you about that? For the history of jazz, she had to fight.
That's so weird. I feel like jazz is the most
Jazz is wonderful. Yeah.
And to convince, not the history of jazz itself, but to implement something that hasn't. Well, one of the biggest part of jazz was the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
Which had the biggest impact on music.
You can't remove those two.
But people did. Because it's the assumption of jazz just being this linear thing.
Right.
Or that it's its own entity, not something that's in context.
Yeah. And nothing exists in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Art does not just happen.
And I guess that kind of goes into what we were talking about expectations. Yeah. And kind of they're presented by whoever. It's kind of if the people, he must know what he's talking about. He has all that power.
Right.
He must know everything. Or she must... because all that money, her value, what she says is how much power. So it's we can't do it because this person said because he knows everything. But the secret is that no one does. So I think that's what...
I don't know if it's a secret. Yeah.
No, you're just saying things that, and I not as a joke. You just became my favorite person on this podcast. that was such a good answer. No, I absolutely agree. with you. No, I absolutely agree with you.
Well, I think me and you are on the same page. Yeah,
well, I guess that's why I kind of it's kind of like if
that's why you're on this podcast.
No, it's just that's why I always just say with Nier Automata, it doesn't need an award. That's why we kind of talk about you don't need an award.
Well, that's me and you are on the same page of award shows are bullshit.
And it's because they're bullshit because their value of these games or Nier isn't because of the award. If we did that, then we'd just be sitting here talking about the music because they won an award for best music,
which is great. It's wonderful music.
It's wonderful.
Okay. So unironically, I think it's better than Persona 5.
I think so too. I think
wow, strong. I mean, I'm with you, but still, I acknowledge that is a hot take.
I've thought about this.
Yeah.
I think the end of Yorha, Weight of the World, or Weight of the World, End of Yorha, that song alone, where they start singing over each other. It's the most. That song is the best song of the year. It's even in anything that any music I've listened to come out this year. That song is the best song of the year.
No, dude, I was in tears. Honestly, straight up.
It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous piece of music.
It brought me back to like Gurren Lagann. The ending.
Yeah.
Of like.
It's a slam dunk, dude. There's no such. I have never seen something so perfectly. Climaxed with music. As sexual as it sounds, but it's like you hear the first version, and it's of your native country. It's English. Or Japanese, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
Then you hear the alternate one in a different ending.
Yeah.
Then you hear the French one.
Mm-hmm,
I think in an alternate ending.
Yeah.
And then it's only until the end. It starts out with 8-bit, which you've been hearing 8-bit mixtures of music the entire. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts out, and you get this masterful transitioning of all the vocals.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that shit, you get this choir that's going on in the background. Yeah. And it's starting to become louder and louder, and it's just that at the end of the song. And then you find out that choir is the whole fucking development team. Cheering you on, and that's them singing.
And the development team's choir comes in right as you get assistance from all the other players.
And it's and it's everyone. It's everyone talking. That moment is so fucking perfect. It's everyone cheering you on, telling you, "Yeah, man, you did it. You beat the game. You're ending this cycle. You're gonna start something new here, and you're gonna help people." And that, as you if that wasn't already enough, they hit you with the choice of, hey, you know all those people that were helping you out? Mm-hmm. You can join them and help others out too. Yeah. But you have to erase your save file. Yeah. And you have to erase everything you did. And it's the true finishing to that cycle, is that it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. But you go on to help someone. Yeah. And that's what your contribution is. And it's so just awesome and amazing. It's like I alluded to earlier. It's the self-sacrifice trope done to its fullest extent.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's fucking. Oh my god, dude!
And you can't do that with any other. I can't think of a medium where you can do it.
No, that ending only works in the medium of video games.
Yeah, and it's absolutely not only. It's not only a great thematic culmination. It's a great moment of unity among people you will never meet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the idea that you share this thing with other humans that exists somewhere is something that's beautiful and amazing and thematically resonant and could only happen in
a video game. Yeah.
So I guess that it's kind of interesting because it kind of in the beginning you see the usual divide, the usual black and white assumption of oh, we're all this and they're all that, like that. And then later on you see more and more, and then it gets to a point where the differences brought you together over the common thing that you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was I can't, the only thing I can think of that brought it to such a meta level is Fully Cooley, where with Fully Cooley you think, oh, it's just another crazy absurd anime, it's just
with
another thing. Stuff. Again, the whole surface level assumption, and then Fully Cooley pushes you deeper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck, dude, I can't think of anything else that did that.
And just to bring it on home for the ending of that, it puts the context of a video game ending in that I didn't beat the game. Mm-hmm. We all beat the game.
Exactly. It's a unity.
It's a unified thing. You know, these people not only beat the game, they help sacrifice themselves to their save files are as close as you can get to that.
Yeah.
Into helping others.
Mm-hmm.
We all did that. We all beat the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shit. Sorry. Phone should have been off. Okay.
Well.
I think that was good.
I think that's good.
Anything else? So we can end it on a little bit more of a fun thing. Which is what was your favorite moment? I'm gonna not talk about because my favorite moment's the ending, but
Right.
I won't say the ending.
That won't be fair.
I'm more curious to see, Ian, what was your...
I'd say it's a tie between, there's a moment where I think you're playing as the pod, and you fight, like, basically an oil rig that's come alive and kind of attacks, you know the one I'm talking about?
You're in the jet.
You're in the jet.
Yeah,
okay,
the Mac, the really cool Mac.
Yeah.
Sick ass Mac.
That's super fun.
Yeah.
That's really fun. The other one is there's like a feudalistic society of robots that have developed inside of an old missile silo.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember that. That was a good one.
The missile silo.
Wait.
Wait. Are you talking about the religious?
Yeah.
The Become as Gods?
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie, dude.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. Like, and the fact that song that you hear every time you go into there, the lyrics of Become as Gods is added.
Yeah.
Makes that even, like, better.
Mm-hmm.
So those were my toppers.
Okay. what were yours, Nick?
Any scene with Commander. No. I'm just kidding. I think, besides the ending, I think one that stuck to me, besides Become as Gods and the ending, it would be basically the whole arc of 9S, like, and him.
Yeah.
Well, specifically when he learns, like the moment the human's AI shows him, and after him reacting to it, and all the 2Bs in the room, and him stabbing the tube. That got me.
What do you think the censored word was? When they ask, "Oh, you just want a blank 2B."
I think. Obviously, it can go either way. At first, I thought it meant kill.
So you're on the camp that you think it meant kill.
When I first saw it, I immediately thought it's kill. I didn't think it was fuck.
So you think it's fuck?
I think he wants to fuck that
So
robot.
see, here's why I originally was with you.
Okay.
But I think that's too obvious.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
because they swear in this game.
That's true.
Why would they censor that word unless it was a misdirection?
Because
our minds obviously go to fuck. I think I'm with Nick. I think it's there on purpose to make you question it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with Nick in that it's kill, but it's definitely ambiguous. Like,
I think it's both ways.
It both makes sense.
Yeah,
but
both totally makes sense.
I think he'd be more ashamed of fuck.
Hmm.
I think he'd be more ashamed because he's
That's
told
true.
not to have feelings repeatedly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the point, and he clearly does.
Yeah.
And he has very intense ones, and so I think he wants to put it to Bone Town. He wants the camera to pan away to the curtains blowing open.
And it would put this idea that 9S, your whole thing is that you're just sexually attracted.
Yeah.
Sure, there's nothing more to that.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a friend or someone that you deeply and profoundly respect.
Yeah.
It's someone you want to just go to Bone Town with.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely see that argument. Like,
Well, it's crazy because we're both right.
Yeah.
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 It's that's what's great about literature.
We all have A's.
We all. I think she's a lesbian. A's for everybody. You know that John Mulaney joke? That John Mulaney joke?
No.
He's like, actually, school gets easier. Like in early school, it's like, what's the capital of Florida? I don't know. Wait, F.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then when you get to college, it's just like your opinion. Like,
Yeah.
I think they're all lesbians. Yeah. A's for everyone.
It's a cash money.
There's definitely some truth to that. For me, you already brought up the Become as Gods.
What about the carnival? That's also
the carnival's great. When you first see it,
Yeah.
that's a really great moment.
Yeah. The music and the visuals were just blown
Yeah.
away.
I think I love and it's such a platinum thing. The sequence where you're climbing the tower and you're switching between characters and fighting the same boss, and it just gets faster and faster until the actual climax is you're fighting each other.
Yeah.
That's great. I think my favorite, because I remember losing... Well, two more. Sorry. The robot carrying the bucket of water.
Yeah.
I think it's so great. And the fact that you have to play with that and that the controls are bad.
Very bad.
Are amazing to me.
Yeah.
Just to create more empathy as playing as these people.
Yeah.
And then 3, when the title drops in the third ending, and it says Nier Automata, and you realize, oh shit, now we're doing the story.
The game started.
Yeah, the game starts at the third ending. And that's Oh, that game, that was amazing to me. That was super great. Also, when Devil and Popola show up again.
Yeah.
And my favorite song from the last game kicks in. And it's a remix.
Yeah, that's where I fucked up because I forgot for a split second about Atonement, that scene, and I forgot my second favorite scene, actually, the library.
Oh, yeah, when you first see the library, dude?
I was losing it.
Like, why? Why is it there? Like,
yeah.
It's the actual library and it's 1-to-1. Like,
yeah, and all these things from the first game and Drakengard, too, that are put on these pedestals to be observed. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. But, so, yeah. Everyone should play this game.
It's alright.
Which is weird if you're listening to this and you haven't. But if you've just known about it, maybe you'll be convinced now to go check a look.
For all my complaints, I still think it is worth checking out. It's a real fun time.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you, Ian, for taking your time and doing that.
Totally. Don't ask me to do this again.
I'm not. No. That was the one. That was the one big one, man. That was the one big one. The only other thing is I'm going to ask if you can give me a job.
Sure. We're going to have Sally Archie Comics, Sonic Archie Comics.
Your pitch to them will be, this motherfucker made me go through 40 hours of footage to prepare for a discussion.
Whatever you do, make sure it's inside of a whale. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
That man is dedicated.
Sally Bones.
He's fucking crazy, but he's dedicated.
Good old Sally Bones.
So maybe we need a little crazy on this.
Just maybe.
We're done.
Gonna shout it loud, even if I would seem meaningless. It's like I'm carrying the weight of the world. I wish that some way, somehow, that I could save every one of us. But the truth is that I'm only one girl. Maybe if I keep believing, my dreams will come to life, come to life. Is this the price?